Hello. Thanks for joining me. So if you look at this page, this is a blog post at drleeds.com. And I updated the title, because some people are searching for that particular phrase, the Suboxone Spit Trick, which is a weird way to put it. But basically the topic is when a person uses Suboxone, Subutex, ZubSolv, which are all different buprenorphine type medications which dissolve under the tongue, which is called a sublingual medication. When you have a medication that dissolves under the tongue, the question is, what do you do after the thing is fully dissolved? You put it under your tongue, and the instructions are clear about what to do during the period while you're waiting for it to dissolve. The instructions in the package insert from the manufacturer, which is approved by the FDA, the instructions are to place the medication under the tongue, and then just wait. Don't drink, don't open your mouth, don't drink or eat. For people that smoke, do not smoke. Don't talk, don't have a conversation. Basically, just sit there with your mouth closed and your tongue over the medication. And hopefully, if you have good saliva production, it'll dissolve, and hopefully it dissolves quickly. Some of the generics will dissolve faster than others, but the real question here is, what do you do after it's dissolved? So now you've been sitting there, your mouth is filling up with saliva, you're probably trying not to swallow and just let the thing dissolve. And at some point the question is, do you spit out that saliva or do you swallow it? I think a lot of people will probably have this feeling that they should just swallow the saliva because there might be some active medication in there, and and they're just kind of, people that use Suboxone, Subutex, ZubSolv, and similar medications are overcoming an opioid addiction. And when you take an opioid or you take a drug, a recreational drug, the impulse is to, to take as much of the residual drug as possible to get like whatever maximal effect. And a lot of times there's no point to it really. Like for example, a person using cocaine might swipe up whatever residual powder is on the table or whatever and lick their finger. And that's not going to probably do anything, but they feel like they've at least made use of all of it. The case with Suboxone is different. When a person puts Suboxone under their tongue, they don't get high from it. It takes away their cravings and it takes away withdrawal sickness, or it prevents it. But the amount of actual medication that's absorbed is not going to be the full amount. If it's an 8 milligram Suboxone, the person is not going to get that full 8 milligrams. They might get, maybe a third of that possibly. And that's the way it's meant to be. It's measured that way. It's expected that you're going to, even when you swallow a pill of any kind, it passes through your liver and it gets, some of it gets absorbed, but not all of it. So it's expected that only a certain amount is going to dissolve anyway. So what about that little extra bit left in the saliva? Will there be any additional benefit if they swallow it? Well, not really, because the issue is, here, if you go down the page, this is a really excellent podcast episode that I did, unrelated to the topic, but I believe that people that happen to come across this page will find this podcast episode very, very interesting and useful. It's an interview with David Poses, who's an activist who talks about opioid addiction treatment with buprenorphine. Anyway, so the issue is that in the intestines, there are opioid receptors which have the effect of, when an opioid, which would include Suboxone or buprenorphine, when an opioid activates those receptors in the gut or the intestines, it slows down movement. So it can actually lead to constipation because material, which would eventually come out, stays for longer than it should. More water is absorbed than normally would happen, and so basically a person has hard, dry stool and becomes constipated and things aren't moving the way they should. Also, for some reason, people get headaches, and it seems like when they swallow the saliva, that might be more likely. So, for people that get those kind of side effects, it might be actually better to spit the saliva out after the medication is fully dissolved. And so there's the debate. spit versus swallow? Should you just swallow that extra medication? And imagine if you take your Suboxone when you're at work or something, and maybe you go in the break room, and as you're walking out, it's like, do you spit? You can't just spit out saliva, when you're walking through your office, or if you're in your car, maybe you don't have a cup or anything. So you just swallow it, or maybe you swallow it for thinking it's going to help, with additional medication, but it won't. But for a lot of people have found that when they spit it out, they feel like the side effects are less, if they have side effects. A lot of people, probably, really the majority of people that take these medications don't have any major issue with side effects. So, but this is definitely something that a person should talk to their doctor about. And the doctor should be involved. If they don't know anything about the topic, they can research it and come to a conclusion. But you definitely, anything relating to treatment, taking medication, should be discussed with the prescribing doctor or prescribing practitioner. So, I hope this topic is helpful. I'm going to put this video. Oh, looks like I got to put a space right there. It's always good to do some proofreading during making these videos. Anyway, so I hope this is helpful. I'll put a link to the blog post in the description of the video. And, please comment. I hope you will like the video and subscribe to the channel if you find it useful. Okay, thank you.